Employers and neighborhood activists are looking for fresh new leaders to continue to promote this emerging style, and more students are looking for ways to break into becoming a serving leader. The great thing is military members have exhibited servant leadership principles within its core values. If students were to become serving leaders through incorporating the core values and principles established in the military, students would benefit. Firstly, in their community, then on their campus, and in the community off campus as well. They would showcase the skills necessary to be attractive to employers who need young leaders who understand how to immediately make an impact. The embodiment of some core military values such as integrity, service before self, and excellence as a primary root belief system enables military members to operate in the worst conditions at the highest levels. Values ground us all in ways that when we're faced with various situations, we end up responding in a particular way that corresponds with our value system. What's exciting about this statement is that any college student that is what is excitement for any college student is that military members are accustomed to a different culture. Yet when these people come in contact with the military culture, our values become their values, and in turn, the military member reacts in a similar way because all of our values are aligned. Generally, values are sentiments that have driven motivation for public service. Values that are generally the values and sentiments currently in our current state. Their motivation for public service is inconsistent with the current generations and previous generations. However, college students that choose to adapt these values from a perspective of service to others, the everyday actions of students will soon become the foundation of those values. Students will make a significant impact, just as most junior military members can make a difference immediately upon entering the military. This presentation will show just a few military values and how they can be incorporated by students, thereby showcasing impact on the community and the potential for greatness within the business market. Serving leaders have a vision for the future by communicating direction with regard to mission, values, and beliefs. When students become servants, the response will grow them, the community, and the places they will eventually work to change the world. The military changes the world first because the military represents a legitimate threat. Typically, threats promote fear, and fear breeds a response. The response is what's important because we all desire a response. But college students don't want people to respond to them out of fear. Could it be that the military community presents other things that motivate people to respond? The answer is yes. According to Bennett and Longley, military organizations have given citizens knowledge, expertise, and experience, resulting in high morale, infectious energy, and real excitement that encourages the application of these factors in everyday life. The military factor the major factor in why military poses such a threat is due to the intelligence that we gather. The acquisition of information is vital to putting together a plan that allows military organizations to assemble a plan of attack. Arming students with the information gathered by military experience will in turn aid in putting together a plan that will build confidence to get the job done. Within an academic setting, students are consistently immersed in a knowledge comprehension environment. This chart presented by Bennett and Longley represents levels of knowledge comprehension in relation to Lawrence Kohlberg's model of moral development. The definition of values is the consideration of someone or something and their importance of their in benefit. Morality dictates that action should be taken when one is sure that the situation is morally right. The attributes of the Kohlberg model directly correlates to values, whether for ourselves or for others. This model shows that when we're given certain aspects of information, it produces development in the person that affects us all on a certain level. When we are shown, what will be shown through the rest of this presentation is how military values, when understood and developed, can increase a student's moral development, thereby having effects on the highest steps of moral development, the steps that one would produce through service to others. Studies done by Yarley and Neal show that in order to move from a state of one's own needs to the state of the whole or the team, traits one must exhibit are that of servant leadership. According to the study, it was found that values and identity with the team are catalysts for change. Values can be discovered in the community and companies, and even on our university campuses. Servant leaders have been shown to help strengthen the association between goals and processes, clarity, and team potency. Setting clear goals for a team is the bedrock where values are established and are essential in any community, including the military. The military values to be discussed today are loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. First, loyalty. Military members are to become loyal to three distinct entities: country, organization, and team. These three sides are important when translating loyalty to students, making them viable candidates to be successful within business and community. Loyalty embodies support and defense. Loyalty grows when a group or an organization is loyal to us, but loyalty begins when it's first displayed within. Students are accepted into their university, which is the large step in loyalty. Then students should discover their place to belong to and showcase loyalty to the university or organization. The same pattern of servant-like loyalty builds trust in teams and communities and companies that allow vision to be fostered. Studies show that servant leadership enhances organizational citizenship behavior through loyal relationship. Duty. Duty is defined as a moral or legal obligation, a responsibility, and also a task or an action that someone is required to perform. In short, duty is a calling or a requirement. Military members are sure of what they've been called to in service to their country and embrace that requirement of service. Students that can accept the concept of their time in school as part of their journey towards their calling and the requirement to enhance their community, immediately their personal message of worth and value go beyond just grades and scholarships and dives into impact and significance on and off campus. Duty is more than just what a person does, but it's pride and honor that they take in doing what they do. A sense of duty is one of the most humbling attributes a person can have because it derives from a cause greater than themselves. When a student grasps hold of how duty represents the whole sum of a thought or an idea, the ability of selfless service becomes much more real. Respect. Dr. Brene Brown, the author of Daring Greatly, said, "I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. When they can give without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship." According to Robert E. Hall, the 11th Sergeant Major of the Army, military members desire these three things. 1, are you concerned about me? 2, can I trust you? And 3, are you committed to excellence? The answer to those three questions produce the feelings of being seen, heard, and valued. This is how we showcase true respect for others. When we treat each other as they should be treated, we showcase respect. Some may call this the golden rule, but this is different than just treating others how we want to be treated. As military members, we come across many types of people, and some of them don't respect themselves, but we know that they matter. So we establish the energy that Dr. Brown speaks of by showing deep empathy no matter who is in front of us. Students who are concerned about others showcase trustworthiness and are committed to excellence. And they have what it takes to help lift up and shape communities and build up their campuses. Honor. Abraham Lincoln, our 5th president of the United States, said, the fiery trials through which we pass will light us down a path to honor or dishonor to the latest generation. It's the next generation that bestows the honor on the previous. It is those who have received that give honor to those who have given. This is the reason why, as a military service and as a nation, we pay tribute to those who have done honorable things. The military consistently does symbolic things to showcase honor to others. We honor the lives and those who honor the lives and sacrifice to those who courageously gave their lives in the tragedy of 9/11 by flying every flag on every government building at half staff. Most oftentimes, honor is bred through adversity. This is the point when it truly means to show honor. Honor is about recognizing the grind, the grit, and the growth of others who have gone through something significant. Those who honor do these things. 1, they pay attention to the details. 2, they recognize sacrifice. 3, they promote those who stand. And 4, they cheer for the smallest victories. When a person has gone through their fiery trial, the stench of a singed life is in their metaphorical nostrils. And those who live a code of honor that highlight the impact of their bravery. The servant leader is the personality type that looks at people in this manner. A business that is erected through a culture of honor stands the test of generations. And a student who walks in honor knows how to both take that and pass that baton on. Integrity. General Charles Krulik, the 31st Commandant of the Marine Corps, observed integrity is a combination of words integris and integer. It refers to the putting on of armor, a building of completeness, a wholeness in character. Integrity isn't something we have, it's something we develop. Defining characteristics of servant leaders is personal integrity in all realms of life, work, and community. The great comparison between military members and students is that they both start in a humble place. Both had no idea where to go or what to do. Both struggle with identity and character. Military members and students both start out wanting to discover who they are and what their life's purpose is. What is the student putting on themselves to build completeness and wholeness in character? General Kulik also adds that integrity is an ideal, a goal to strive for. And for a man or woman who walk in their integrity is to require constant discipline and usage. In the military, we are already given the goal to strive for, and we're repeatedly reminded of it. and we're indoctrinated into a culture of the goal. When students devote themselves to the walk that they begin to create, when students devote themselves to the walk, they begin to create culture for themselves. As they develop completeness and wholeness in character, they grow and have the strength to grow others. Personal courage. It was personal courage that kept me going. I had the courage to still do my job, lead my men, and to not stay hidden, to help the Iraqi people. These are the words of Major Scotty Smiley, PhD. Major Smiley in 2005 responded to a situation where a car bomb exploded in Mosul, Iraq. The suicide bomber left him scarred for life. For now, Major Smiley is permanently blind. The Major's personal courage didn't just lead him to continue to fight, lead him to protect, but it led him to continue to serve. So much so that he was chosen as the Army Soldier of the Year in 2007. Yes, this was 2 years after he suffered his tragic event. It was personal courage that pushed him to not just survive this ordeal, but rise above every other honorable soldier in the Army to distinguish himself above some of the most skilled men and women in the entire world. Needless to say, this is a value, a virtue that connects at the heart of every other value listed here. What kind of students are we to be? This is the kind that when we're at our lowest, are we the kind of student that when we're at our lowest, we remain down? Or do we rise above our challenges? Do we rise above the naysayers, the doubters, to reach heights that none of us can ever imagine? Servanthood is said to be the lowest place. Some would equate it as being as hopeless a thing as blindness itself. I don't think anyone sees clearer than Major Smiley. And I submit, few people see clearer than servant leaders. And that's the kind of person every CEO wants to hire. And that's the goal each student should aspire to. Now, there's still one missing that we've previously mentioned, but we haven't given much depth to: selfless service. According to the Center of Army Professional Ethics, selfless service is described as placing duty before personal desires, promoting and helping others, volunteering, putting our own interests aside, and committing to others. These things, by and large, we have already discussed in this presentation, but there's one last thing that I'd like to address that the center talks about, which is what will certainly separate the servant leader students from the boys and make military members honorable. It's being glad when others succeed. Greed and jealousy erode good order and discipline in the armed forces. Making success about the individual distracts us from the team, and without the team, we lose. We cannot continue to find victory outside of genuine joy for someone else's achievements. Taking this a step further, servant leaders pursue others' success. What would our communities look like if students were leading the charge for promotion for their neighbors? How efficiently would our businesses operate if at the ground level, newly hired graduates didn't need to step on each other's backs because they were helping each other step up the ladder for the other person's success? We would have working environments that bring about customer service, like Chick-fil-A. We would have employees who love what they do, like Southwest Airlines. We would have people taking care of people like they do at Wegmans supermarkets. Listen, if you've never been to Wegmans, you are missing out. At all these companies, it's their culture not to just celebrate the success of others, but become intricately involved in their success. not just at the supervisory level, but at the peer-to-peer level. So if you would with me, as I end this presentation, imagine a person standing still, straight line, focused, an individual locked in place, unmoved by anything or anyone. Rain begins to fall, and the sound of thunder inches closer, and the danger of the elements are imminent. And yet, there's barely a blink. The wind grows stronger and more violent, and everything is moving at a fierce pace except this person. Slowly, ceremoniously, and deliberately, a salute from this person's right hand with strength and distinction rises and smartly falls back down to their side. This image is the epitome of military bearing, the deepest and most cherished respect that a military member can offer. And this respect is given to a person that they don't even know. They have no idea where this person comes from or the events of their lives. The only thing that matters is that this person, having made a choice to serve, is worthy of respect. Now, one may assume that this is done in honor of a military service member who dies, but frankly, this is done to military members and civilians who are living as well. There's no one greater than us, and everyone deserves the utmost respect. And this is the kind of devotion military members show to others. What if students on our campus show this kind of respect, this level of service, this depth of commitment to others? I know that our communities, our businesses would change for the better. This is the role of military values. The students embrace the concept of becoming servant leaders. Thank you. Questions?
We can take questions through the chat, or I can also unmute people if they, raise their hands and want to ask a question.
Either or, that'd be
okay. Like we have a quiet group today.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Pedersen.
Sorry, Julie.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, thanks for this, Kyle. Lyle, sorry. Lyle. I found it very interesting. I was especially interested in the focus on how the military imbues these values, the various values you were discussing, as part of the daily, hourly lifestyle. And I was wondering if you had any ideas on how we might, as like within the university, how instructors or curriculum developers, especially in this uniquely challenging online environment, might inculcate those same virtues, like, within the behavior in a classroom or whatever. I'm not sure, but it's just, I was thinking about the difference between belonging, to a military unit, to the military in general, versus, these discrete classrooms that we have. And if you had any thoughts about how classrooms and the experience here at Ashford could be enhanced in ways that further inculcate those virtues.
Oh, certainly. I think I heard most of your question. Was a little jumbled up and something was happening with the microphone there. But from what I understand, your question is pretty much, how can we take some of those military values and imbue them in the classroom along with the instructors and the leaders there, and get them down to the students to make this a consistency within our classroom culture, which is a great question. The first thing we have to do is we have to ensure that we have instructors that have kind of bought into this whole idea of being servant leaders from the top. And so what has to happen is when our instructors exhibit servant leadership attitudes and attributes, when they take those same values and they incorporate them in an everyday basis within the classroom, all of a sudden it begins to translate to the students. There are ways that we can use, whether it's our wording or whether it's our conversation with the students from a large scale, or even more importantly on an individual scale when it comes to the discussions questions. For example, the way that we respond to our students and the way we begin to empower them by allowing students to see how someone else has made a really important or beneficial discovery or response, and allowing those conversations and those things to be the energy and the power that fuels the rest of the class. When we have instructors that are looking past their expertise and past the context and into the actual learning of the student then feels empowered to continue to be the best that they are. And so now the thanks doesn't go to the instructor. The thanks doesn't even really necessarily go to so much the textbook, but then the thanks and the accreditation and the building goes to the students themselves. And when we can have students that create the culture, build the culture, and allow the culture to grow, now we have servant leaders that are changing things on our campuses. I hope that helps.
Dr. Pedersen said thank you. She accidentally sent the message just to me, so it's okay.
Okay.
Well, we're just about out of time. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was some great information for everybody, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and thank you to Mr. Tard for being here. Please enjoy the rest of TLC.